Okay, we are live. Seems like people are still joining, but we have quite many already online. But let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. Today's topic is how to automate supplier invoice coding in IFS with self-learning AI. And we are super excited to see that and thankful that there are over 200 people registered for the webinar today. That was a bit surprise for us that we got so many of you registering for the webinar. And we are very thankful for IFS and for you, Jonas, for this opportunity to co-host this webinar with you. And also big thanks I want to say to IFS user groups who have helped us to promote this webinar. Thank you, Minna. Thank you, Magnus, for the collaboration. And all of you attendees, you will find on the right side the Q&A chat. So send us questions using the Q&A. So we will take them on the go. We will select the questions and then answer live. And if we are not able to answer all of those live, we will actually even probably answer some of the questions in a written way, maybe sending you an email afterwards. But let's begin. We have quite many slides today to go through, lots of topics to cover. So please pay attention to the screen, because otherwise you might drop out. So let's begin. Who are we? Miikka, would you like to start by introducing yourself?
Yes, hi for everyone. I'm Miikka Savolainen, CEO of Snowfox. Close to 3 decades experience on the financial and procurement software business and outsourcing business in different leadership positions, and having been part of the Snowfox from the very beginning. Nice to be here.
Yes, and shortly about me, my name is Tuomas Haapsaari, working as a Chief Growth Officer at Snowfox, focusing on building partnerships at the moment. I've been almost from the beginning with Snowfox. And Jonas.
Yes, hello everyone. Jonas Silvero is my name, working from IFS R&D. And my role there is product manager for the finance application. And I'm also very happy to be here, Thomas, to be a part of this webinar, of course.
Thanks, Jonas. We appreciate it. It is super good to have you. Okay, very shortly about Snowfox in the beginning, because there are quite many of you who probably don't know us very well. So just a quick overview. So we are a leading invoice coding AI solution provider. Snowfox was founded in 2018, and actually the development started already back in 2016, so 10 years ago. We have offices in Stockholm, Sweden, Helsinki, Finland, and our marketing is located in London, UK. We have customers in 30 markets nowadays, and we're automating close to 20 million invoices annually. And the number is growing all the time. And according to Deloitte Technology Fast 50 listing, we are one of the fastest growing tech companies in the Nordics at the moment. And we are proudly a global ISV partner of IFS, bridging the gaps of non-PO invoice automation, which we are going to talk about today. But about the agenda of today. So first of all, we're gonna hear about IFS Supplier Invoice Data Capture Automation Solution by Jonas. Then we're gonna talk briefly on Snowfox and IFS partnership, kind of an overall overview of that. Then we will explore manual invoice coding challenges and how are we used to building invoice automation today. And then how can AI automate invoice coding, and how Snowfox AI connects with IFS. And then we have a few customer examples to show you. And finally, a bonus, which we will reveal only at the end of the webinar. So let's begin with IFS Supplier Invoice Data Capture Automation. Jonas.
Yes, I'll take the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we have invested in the last year. And as you see here, these are just different ways of entering invoices. Of course, there's still some paper invoices around, not that common anymore, hopefully. But of course, there needs to be a process for that, either by scanning or by manual entry, etc. The majority of invoices, I would say, in at least from a global perspective, is received by email, normally in PDF format, but of course in other formats as well. What's becoming more and more popular, I would say in Finland, maybe it's been there many, many years now, but e-invoicing as a will then, of course, increase in importance with all these different e-invoice mandates that we see across the world. And this is also a normal step in that process of being more and more electronically handling. We also have EDI still around, and also maybe possibility for supplier portals and similar to upload invoices. And what we have done now, we previously have relied on partners or in-house solutions to extract data out of invoices, like PDF invoices as an example. But with the current technology available, then we also decided then to make this happen, also possibility to do it directly inside IFS. You can move to the next screen. So this is a sample of a screen that we have extracted data from a document, and then we present the extracted data to the left, and then you see the image to the right. And you can move on. I think this is quite clear, similar to what you see in other ReadSoft solutions and something like that. You receive invoices normally, as I said, by email, and then you extract the data out of those invoices and present it for review. And then there's a review stage for that. And then the thinking going forward, of course, is to get it more and more automated as we go. So it's what we have built it on is what we call the OCR machine learning technology from the Microsoft Azure Doc Intelligence model, which is a generic global invoice model widely used by many tools today. And it's trained on many different type of invoices from different parts of the world, of course, making it very powerful. And also that you have it then by saying it's multi-language and multi-invoice layout supporting in different aspects. And I think this is a very good baseline, you can say. This is where to get a very good accuracy of a lot of data automatically extracted without any training or template models and stuff like that. Instead, but there are some limitations to get it with high accuracy. So what we have done is then now for 2601 added also what we call the AI supported post-processing logic, which is really using LLM in a way that we can get better accuracy of the data extracted, and also by validating directly to IFS logic and data setting inside the product, which I think is, of course, it's an important step. Why do go in with our solution is that it's fully integrated into our solution, of course. That is the main benefit. I would say we use the email integration. You can also manually upload an invoice and get it extracting the data out of the invoice, or you can set up email inboxes, either one shared inbox for many companies or one inbox per IFS company. And we support invoice header and line information, which and also lately we have focused a lot on the tax handling on line level, which is an area I think it's where we have an advantage because we have the logic directly inside the system, which might be a bit more cumbersome, I would say, using an external tool for that. So fully integrated to IFS Cloud Accounts Payable is the main message, I would say. But this is an area we are working on. We are still investing in, and I think will be improve as we say. So 25R2 is sort of a baseline that we will build from. And so then what's built on 26R1 will also be delivered on SUs on 25R2. Yes, and also then from the last, I was in a webinar about a year ago, I think, with a similar audience like this. We talked about the IFS P2P process. And in that webinar, there was a strong request for a more efficient way of handling the non-PO based invoices and to automate the posting of these type of invoices, hopefully using an AI. And this, I would say, it's still something that we might consider in IFS as well going forward if it's in a product backlog. But we also now, since the last webinar, we have introduced the partnership with Snowfox that are really experts in this area. So you will hear now soon, we'll hear more about. So I will hand over to Thomas to explain more about how they can help you to improve your AP workflow with their tools in combination with IFS.
Thanks, Jonas. I think your solution is really, really great, and I really hope that every single IFS customer will use it, because we have met with some of the IFS customers who are not using OCR at all, but manually registering invoices into IFS, and I really hope that they would start using this solution in the future very soon. Really good. Okay, let's quickly cover the Snowfox and IFS partnership, as you, Jonas, mentioned. So our goal is to bridge the gaps that IFS is lacking at the moment, and we all know that IFS is heavily investing in AI development, but there are so many AI use cases within ERP, different processes and so on, that maybe that this is something that will not be invested at the moment. So Snowfox is then covering this part. So Snowfox is an independent IFS validated service vendor and a global ISV partner for IFS shortly. And our customer focus, so the goal is to enhance IFS customer experience and satisfaction through the Snowfox add-on. So we're not replacing the IFS Accounts Payable module. No, we are enhancing, we are increasing or making the experience better with Snowfox add-on. We're automating the process. About sales and distribution, so we are collaborating with IFS, of course, but also with IFS service and channel partners like Adovation and ArcWide, and many more in the future as well. And we are signing the contracts directly with IFS customers. IFS is not reselling Snowfox, so we will always sign the contract with the end customer. That's also good to know. And about the compatibility, we have received a lot of questions about it. So we are fully compatible with all IFS versions, let's say from IFS 9 up to IFS Cloud. So no matter which one you are using, it works. Okay, let's jump into the manual invoice coding challenges. This is probably very familiar to all of you guys. You are professionals. But let's quickly cover what we have heard from our existing customers, what kind of challenges they have reported us. So first of all, manual invoice coding, we claim, is the biggest bottleneck in purchase-to-pay automation, because 80 to 90% of non-PO, non-purchase order invoices are being coded manually. And by coding, we mean populating these fields such as GL accounts, cost centers, business units, projects, tax codes, etc., manual, and also booking dates, periodization, and things like that. So a lot of manual work within non-PO invoice coding. And what is the cost of it? So around 3 to 8 euros per invoice is the cost for manually coded purchase invoice. And the typical non-PO invoice coverage is around 20 to 80% of all the invoices. So depending on the industry, depending on the processes, you probably have 20 to 80% of all the invoices as non-PO invoices. But those invoices are causing most of the manual workload. That's what we have heard and seen. And then why should invoice coding be automated then? What are the reasons we have heard from the customers? So number one, it is time consuming and very inefficient. 4 to 10 minutes per invoice, multiple touches, and so on. And that actually causes long invoice cycle. So, and that is actually causing late payment fees as well. So it takes really long for an invoice to be processed every step. Accounts Payable is not very happy when they are doing that not likable, repetitive work day in, day out. And they are very busy. Some of the AP teams are very busy all the time. Some of the AP teams are very busy during the month, ending on month, like closing time, when there's a peak of incoming invoices that needs to be processed quickly. We have heard and seen lower coding quality because of human errors. The more manual human work there is, the more errors there are. as well. And that is impacting management and accounting reporting, which can easily be seen. Suppliers are not happy when you are paying invoices late. And in order to try to automate with rules and templates, data has to be really good within those invoices. So you have a lot of data requirements for the suppliers in order to automate the process. And all of this is impacting in a way that your accounts payable team becomes non-scaling. So always when your invoice volume grows, increases, you will have to hire new people into your accounts payable team in order to manage the purchase invoices. So here are a few reasons why we think and what we have heard from the customers why should it be automated. But Miikka, how are we used to building invoice automation nowadays?
Yeah, if we just heard from Tuomas that this is the problem, so why haven't we done anything, or what we have basically done in order to automate this invoice handling? And basically, I would say the most common way the industries are doing this is to increase the PO coverage, which of course everybody knows is the most efficient way and the most used way of increase the automation there. And definitely it needs to be done, especially in the businesses where let's say the business nature supports the PO coverage or the PO processes, which means also that you need to let's say force the suppliers and your own personnel to work according to process. And I think everybody has heard about the no PO, no pay policies, which basically means that you need to follow the process. But as we have seen, you can go on the certain way with increasing the PO coverage, because we have seen in the organizations which are saying that they have a big PO coverage, still there are purchases which are left outside of the PO process, and there are certain reasons for that. I will actually copy to the chat a link to our web pages where you can find out more what we have been seeing and thinking about this process itself.
Oh, you are referring to a blog article?
A blog article, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And then the normal way also of let's say handling the non-PO invoices is to build more rules and templates, which means that it typically works for the recurring invoices, which means that you need to extract some data in order to be able to automate, and the data need to be exactly the correct, and it need to be exactly in the let's say the correct locations, so that it's enabling to trigger the automation in place. And then we have been in discussion with our customers many times, or seeing customers which are saying that when we are offering that, hey, Snowfox can do this, they said that, okay, we have a good systems in place, and then we are relying those and do this kind of let's say rule-based automation. And when we are contacting them, for example, after 1 year, the situation is still same. So they haven't increased the automation. And the reason there is that somebody needs to, first of all, detect these recurring invoices. Somebody needs to build the rules. And then after that is done, somebody needs to maintain the rules as well. Because so that this rule-based automation, in order that it works, it means that the purchases remains the same, the terms remains the same, the supplier remains the same, etc., etc. And in this kind of dynamic world, it typically, it might work, but it causes a lot of maintenance work as well. So therefore, we know that there is a better way also of doing this automation. Or what do you think, Tuomas?
Absolutely. And I would say that if it would work like really well, there wouldn't be any manual work within non-PO invoice processing.
That's
and
true.
I think the biggest the main shortcoming that I have heard is that there are a lot of exception invoices. Like we're typically used to building rules per supplier. So what if this same supplier is sending you different kind of invoices where one template does not actually work? You have to build the main rule and then exceptions and so on. So and if you're receiving, let's say, significant number of non-PO invoices, you might have to build hundreds or even thousands of rules One of our longtime customer had 3,500 around rules built and templates before implementing AI in use. And when this guy who was responsible for the rule network left the company, nobody knew anymore what was going on, what kind of rules did they have, and how to upkeep those, and so on. But okay, let's move on. We could talk about it the whole day. And please give your comments into the Q&A chat as well, and maybe questions. And if you don't agree, if you disagree with us, please do send those as well. But then, how can AI automate invoice coding? So we are experiencing a huge paradigm shift at the moment, driven by AI. And maybe this is why IFS is heavily investing in AI as well, and have been doing that for a long time already now. Because let's go through the old paradigm first. Predefined rules, what it means. Basically what Mika just described. It means it is manually built and maintained rules and templates. So if X happens, then do Y. So if supplier X is sending you an invoice, rule suggests you specific template for that invoice, coding template, for example, that type of simple rule. And the problem is that the rules are suitable only for simple recurring invoices where there are no exceptions. I know that you have those invoices as well, and for those invoices, rules are actually working really, really well, where there is no exceptions. So then rule has been triggered and it works fine. The challenge is that because of the complexity of incoming invoices and so on, there are a lot of unused potential. So I would say every single one of you listening to this webinar could build more rules and templates. That's for sure. We haven't seen like basically a single company who is taking the full potential of rules, but there are so many reasons to it because it's so time consuming and so on. So it basically doesn't even make any sense to take 100% of the benefits out of it. And the thing is that rules require high maintenance because of rules do not adapt to changes. So like Mika said, if supplier is changing or something is changing, you will have to upkeep or even create the rule again. So it's not adapting to the changes automatically at all. And the outcome of rules is low automation rate. That is what we are facing, what you are facing today. So rules are simple, whereas invoices are complex. There's a mismatch. It's not a great match. For some of the invoices, it works really, really well, and you should use it. But then most of the non-PO invoices, it's not very good idea to try building hundreds or thousands of rules. But okay, what about the new paradigm? It is self-learning AI. What it means in invoice automation. So it means that AI learns customer or company or organization specific coding rules automatically from historic invoice and coding data. So you don't have to build any rules. You just give AI your historic data, historic information, and AI studies and learns all the rules automatically from the historic data. So it's automating the process, but it's also automating the building of automation. AI also adapts to changes automatically through a feedback loop. We'll talk about that later. And that's why it requires low maintenance, because it's self-learning, self-adapting. AI is understanding the context of the invoice. So it's using all the invoice data fields for predictions. It is not relying only on, let's say, supplier or some specific reference number or something like that. It is going through every single data field of the invoice and understanding the context, and based on that, predicting all the values. And the outcome is high automation. Up to over 90% of the non-PO invoices can be easily automated with AI. So the old paradigm, most of the non-POs are being manually coded. There are some invoices that can be easily automated with rules, but the rest manual. With AI, it's kind of flipping upside down. So most of the non-POs are automatically coded. You can still keep the rules, but then most of the invoices are automated with AI. Miikka, then we are going to dig into Snowfox IFS solution. So what do we basically do?
Yeah, and actually there has been one question already coming, which I will
Good.
cover in this slide, or there are many questions actually, but one question I will cover in this. So, as said, Snowfox automates the purchase invoice coding and authorization flow with the self-learning AI. And our service is connected to the IFS as an add-on. So this is not a built into the IFS, this is an add-on which is connected there. And what we are basically doing and offering here is that as Thomas mentioned, so it's an AI-based invoice coding automation, and then with us, you are able to reach over the 90% accuracy and automation. And we will cover in the coding basically all the things what your AP department is doing. Cost allocation, booking dates, periodization, accruals, this kind of stuff is coming from our service. And as said, we are also automating the authorization flow, and then we are then doing also some extraction of the data in order to increase the automation in your system as well. And then in addition to our core service, we have this kind of analytics, real-time analytics, which is showing how the AI is performing, and we have this kind of admin tools to optimize and manage the AI. I will come back to these two last points a little bit later, but this is basically the solution what Snowfox together with IFS is offering for the non-PO purchase invoice automation.
Great, thank you for the overview. Then let's dig in deeper to the kind of the Snowfox AI process. So how does the AI actually learn to automate non-PO invoices? So we have 6 steps here.
There was also a question regarding, for example, that how long history data is enough and so on. So
yes, so I will click once and let you know. So we always start with training the AI with historic data, just like you were asking in the chat. So typically we require, let's say, 6 months to even 1 year of historic data. We have implemented customers with only 2 to 3 months of historic data, and AI worked well. That customer was receiving quite a big number of invoices, non-PO invoices. So 2 months, 3 months of data was enough for that customer. But typically 3 months to 6 months to even 1 year is a good amount of historic data for AI training. And that data we will feed to the AI model. So AI will start going through all of those invoices, like one by one. It will go through first the invoice data. What was purchased, who was the supplier, line items, every single reference number that exists or contains in the data. It will go through first and memorize that. And then it will go through the coding information. Which GL account was selected for this specific invoice? Which cost center, which tax code, which project, you name it. Every dimension you are using to allocate the cost, it will go through and memorize those values as well. And then who has reviewed, who has approved or authorized this invoice, and memorize those as well. And then go to the next set, invoice data, coding information, approval flow or authorization flow data. And then after going through, let's say, half a year or 1 year of historic invoices with coding information, authorization flow information, it starts to understand your way of coding invoices. It understands all those small nuances as well. And then it's ready to work, ready for action. Then we connect Snowfox with IFS. And when you are starting to receive invoices, non-PO invoices, where there is no PO in place, and there is no template in place, then AI will automate the coding. And if needed, it can also automate the authorization flow of the invoice, incoming invoice. So it will go through every single field of the invoice. And based on that, and based on the historic learning, it will predict every single dimension separately. Which GL account would be the most probable for this invoice? Which cost center, which tax code, and so on. And AI will also indicate how sure or unsure AI is regarding every single prediction. We call that as confidence rate. So AI will indicate, am I sure, not sure? If AI is not sure, then it will go to exception handling. Somebody will have to double check it. But okay, AI automates the coding, the approval flow, and the invoice will automatically go to authorization flow according to your existing process. We do not change the process. So then somebody will review the invoice, approve the invoice before it's going to booking and payment. And it is very important that if you are seeing any mistake made by AI, somebody would have to replace. Let's say the cost center is predicted incorrectly by AI for some reason. It's very important that somebody would replace it to the correct value. Because, of course, you want it to be booked correctly, but then also there's another reason, which is the feedback loop. So after the invoice is being booked and ready to go for payment, we are receiving back from IFS the final coding information, the final authorization flow information back to the AI. So AI compares that this is what I predicted in the first place, and this was the final coding string or coding values of this invoice. And if there are any changes made in the process, AI understands that I made a mistake and I need to learn from this. And this is actually the ongoing improvement that is happening automatically in the background, because AI is learning from every single mistake and every single invoice. And this data will flow to the real-time analytics, what Mika just mentioned, that you can see real-time how many invoices were automated by AI and how AI has improved and how AI has performed. So everything is very transparent for you. So one of AI training with historic data, and then we are part of the invoice flow and learn continuously.
And then where we are in the process, there has been a question that for example, that how we relate to the endpoints of if you Tome, go to the next slide. So where we are in the process. So when the invoice has been received and there is like a invoice operator or there is an OCR operator, so we come after that. So we receive the information from those operators, we do our work, and we deliver the invoices forward to the IFS. So for the payment and accounting. So we are there in between. And then what we are basically then doing is that we are generating the information which is not available on the invoice. So for example, GL account, cost centers, and so forth.
Exactly.
I can add to that. I think there have been a few questions about Pagero and the role of them in this. And then, of course, they could be in this case, if you have the data extraction is done by Pagero, might be the case. And then they produce their file as usual. And then what happens is that Snowfox takes care of that invoice and that file together with the image, I would say, and then they come up with the coding and then add that to the file that is later forwarded into IFS and then handled into the external supplier window as normal.
Exactly.
I think so. It's like a step in the process. They just improve it and do some enrichments, you can say, to the process.
Yes.
Yeah, we have many Pagero customers, for example, that, like you said, they're doing the OCR or operating or delivering e-invoices, but then we are enriching the file with the coding values. So.
And same thing then, but what I explained at an early stage about our extraction tool, in this case is number 2 here with the OCR, same thing here, then the data output from that process will then be enriched then by Snowfox before it ends up in IFS for further processing.
Exactly. And we have received many questions, like oftentimes the question that, okay, if we are receiving all the invoices as e-invoices, will the coding be automated? Because invoices are coming as e-invoices, real e-invoices, structured files. But no, there's no coding information in the e-invoice or the invoice data. So whoever is sending you invoices, they don't know which GL account should be selected from your chart of accounts or which cost center you are going to select to allocate this cost to and so on. So it doesn't matter. You get the better quality invoices when using e-invoices, but it's not automating the coding process still. But here is a screenshot kind of illustrating that we are not bringing in a new user interface. We are relying on IFS user interface. So you will keep on using IFS as you are using today, but incoming invoices are already automatically coded. So we're just enriching the invoice file with the coding values. So the process or the experience is better where you don't have to manually do all the work, but incoming invoices are already being automated by Snowfox. So that's kind of the biggest change. Here, Miikka, you have an example here of
and that's an
file.
example what also Jonas mentioned. I need to say that this is the most sexiest slide in this this webinar, definitely, as you can see, illustrating that when we are receiving the data file from the operator, is the OCR or invoice operator, then we are doing our enrichments in the file. So we are adding those. I don't not now go into details, but this is the way how we do the enrichment, and this is then delivered to the IFS.
Yes.
Good. And all the services and all the performance what we are providing can be followed through the analytics. So one of the main ideas is that we want to be as transparent as possible for our customers, so that you can online see that what's the performance of the AI, and then through our analytics you can see it from the different points of view. For example, if you have a different companies, you can see it there. What are the dimensions? How are the trends? And how are different suppliers or supplier invoices we are able to predict, and so on and so on. So there are different views in that. And also the other important tool what we are providing for our customers is this kind of admin tool. And as I mentioned, that one of the big thing for us is to give the transparency and control of the AI, so that the customer can see how the AI is performing, but also manage and control the things there. For example, there you are, as Tuomas mentioned, when we are delivering these confidence values per prediction, you can utilize or you can set the thresholds, for example, from the service by yourself. And there are many other things, because I think that's one of the main things in the future that you need when we are talking about the AI, that you need to be able to see what the AI is doing, why is it doing, and you need to be able to also impact it. We all know that, for example, the word hallucination. So in order to be able to impact to the mistakes what the AI is doing, you need to be able to, for example, touch the training data, which you can do through our tool. So there are many aspects, but this is really important part of the service.
Miikka, one really good question regarding this exact slide is that when employees leave the company or when the organization is reorganized, does the learning model need to be reconfigured and require more than 3 months of training again?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Because
no, just one change. from the in the admin tool.
Exactly.
So somebody is leaving the organization, that will be replaced with the new person. You make it just once, and AI learns.
Yeah, and exactly, and it covers all the other kind of changes. If you have changes in the cost center structure, or we know, and we see at sometimes, for example, that there are VAT rates are changing. So all of these kind of changes you can through this kind of admin tool, and you can set the time when you take in use this kind of, let's say, new way of for example, replacing this reviewer or the person in the organization, or this kind of things. So.
And another question, how long does it take if we change cost center information to Snowfox to adapt the change? So basically it's immediate. If you do the change in our admin tools, it happens like this.
Yes.
For example, we have this tax code or tax changes in Finland.
In other markets as well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So those changes happen immediately when you do the change in the admin tool.
Yeah. Or you can set it, for example, that this is valid from 1st of April.
Yes. Good. Let's continue. Really good questions. I think Miikka and Jonas, we need to answer most of these questions written, because there are so many, but please keep them coming. We're happy to answer you all of the questions that are coming in. Really, really great ones.
Exactly.
Security, Miikka, what about that?
Yeah, so as we are handling our let's say customers' purchase invoices, so there is a critical purchase information in it, and you will see a little bit later some example of our customers. We are serving, for example, Finnish government or this kind of big financial institutions. We are really up to date of this data security, and then we are really paying attention. It's also we have a ISO 27001 certification. We are Google Cloud partner and so on and so on. So we are really paying attention to this data security.
Yes. And there's a great question that are we going to share all the questions and answers with the audience?
Yes.
So yeah, I think we should do that because there are
Yes.
so many good questions that really require our attention. So let's do so.
Mhm.
Okay, Miikka, how does the Snowfox implementation to IFS happen?
Yeah, so we already like shortly touched it, but this is like the
Mhm.
high-level illustration. So as said, we are there in the between of the invoice operator or the invoice OCR operator and the IFS. So we are receiving the invoices from the operator. We are doing our magic and we are delivering the invoice, enriched invoices to the IFS. When the invoices has been approved, we are receiving the feedback information, so which contains the correct codings and then how the invoice has been flown through the organization. And with that information, we are training the AI. So basically, there are three connections: connection to the invoice or OCR operator, connection to the IFS, and then the feedback connection from the IFS. So that's basically how we are connecting to IFS.
Yes. How does the implementation then look like?
Yeah, so as said, we have a productized service, and we have been working with the IFS customers already for a while. So basically, everything starts if we take this kind of onboarding or implementation project, we have the kickoff meeting with the customer, and then there is typically IFS partner of the customer in place as well. We do the technical work after that, which means also the AI training. We have the history data, we build the connections and so on. Then we do the testing, which is normally 2-3 testing sessions. And after that, we go live, and then we have the hypercare, and then we have also our continuous support model. So we have a nominated customer success manager for all of our customers, and they work is to make sure that the customers are getting the value from the Snowfox service as it should. And typically, this is a project of the calendar weeks.
Yes. Great. So what are the benefits of AI? And this is actually directly coming from our existing customers. We have done several interviews and gathered the data. So number one, pretty obvious, high automation rate, 80 to 90% automation rate with AI. That's the most. Significant time savings, several minutes per invoice saved, and no time spent building templates. Of course, still our customers are keeping some of the templates and quite many of them, but they don't have to try building new again all the time. Happier AP team, less repetitive work, which they like, and most often they're reallocating resources to more valuable and more senior tasks within AP team. And our customer PHM, they have increased their AP team efficiency by 3 times after implementing Snowfox AI in use. Financial savings, so resources reallocation, and no more late payment fees. Actually, those late payment fees might be very, very costly if those exist. And then smoother purchase to pay process. So higher touchless processing and less communication, internal or external needed, because the process is working better. And then higher coding quality. So AI is making less mistakes than humans are, and AI is consistent. It doesn't have a bad or good or bad days. Every day is the same. So these we have seen, maybe many more, but these. And then a couple of customer examples. So just to highlight a few customer logos. So most of our customers are a little bit bigger companies. And I would say the more incoming invoices, the better. And the more complex the company is, typically the better. Nordic Paper is IFS customer and our customer as well. And their comment has been that from Emma, their finance manager, that Snowfox has made a positive difference to our AP process. The collaboration has been smooth and straightforward throughout. Snowfox invoice coding automation has helped us a lot. So nice comment from Emma-Riena Sandin from Nordic Paper. And then a little bit more in-depth customer case. ISS, service company ISS. So they are receiving around 150,000 non-PO invoices per year. And before implementing AI, their non-PO automation rate was only 14%. And the rest, 86% of the non-PO invoices were fully manually coded and also routed for approval flow. All of that done by AP team. And what they did before Snowfox in terms of automation was lots of rules and templates, what they did. And what kind of challenges were they facing because of manual work? High costs. They had really big AP team. Most invoices manually routed for approval flow. Low coding quality, lots of mistakes. Slow invoice processing, which was actually very critical for them because of a lot of late payment fees, high costs, and even lower credit rating. They weren't able to pay their invoices on time, so their credit rating lowered. And that was super bad for them. And after implementing AI in use, their manual work reduced from 86% to 17% for non-PO invoices. And their payback period was only 3 months. So really, really great ROI, return on investment. Invoice routing time went from 2 to 3 days waiting in their accounts payable team to just seconds, because 83% of all the incoming invoices were automatically routed without AP team even seeing the invoice. So we were able to help a lot, reducing time and stress doing the work. And what kind of business outcomes did they have they seen? Smaller AP team for purchase invoice handling. So they've been able to reallocate their resources to other tasks as well. Their credit rating strengthened pretty quickly. No more late payments. And their coding quality has enhanced a lot. Less mistakes with AI. And the quote and comment from the CFO, we have been able to leverage the AI automation very effectively, and we have achieved results quickly with a very reasonable investment. And maybe I want to emphasize that when training the AI with historic data and implementing in use, it will start working really well from day one. It doesn't take like, let's say, half a year or something waiting time waiting for AI to learn, but it will start performing on a great level from day one, right after implementation. So the automation will take a huge leap immediately. But Miikka, there are probably quite many people that are thinking right now that basically it sounds good, but does it work for us?
Yeah, and is it true? So
is it true? Does it work for us? We are so complex. We have so different kind of invoices, lots of one-off invoices, multiple line items, blah, blah,
exactly,
blah.
Exactly. So therefore, we have this kind of proof of value, POV concept in place, where the customer can test with their own data and then see what's the accuracy, what Snowfox can provide for them. This means that after, let's say, signing the NDA, we receive a historic data, typically 3 to 6 months. That covers invoices and the coding data. With that data, we train the AI model. So we take most of the data, we train the AI model, and with the rest of the data, we drive it through the trained AI model and get the results. And these results, what we are getting from the AI, we are comparing to the original results and reporting those through our reporting tool for the customer, which enables to see that what is the capability of the Snowfox, how much the customer is able to automate, and what's the business value there. And this is for free from from Snowfox point of view.
Yeah, so the purpose of this is to help you understand that how well AI would perform with your invoices before committing to anything.
Yeah.
So this is just giving you information that this, if you were to implement Snowfox in use, this would be the starting accuracy level.
Yeah.
But Miikka, finally,
yes,
we have a bonus offer for you. which we've been hiding.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty good.
It is, and thanks for hanging on so far and so long here. So, as said in the TV shops, in the old linear TV, this was not all. So, in addition to this, so what we are providing now, and we are happy to have the IFS as to be an IFS partner. So, we are happy to provide for IFS users the 2 months free of usage of the service fees if the contract is signed by end of Q3 this year. So please contact our colleague Tony Kaski, so he can give you more information, and then you can receive also Tony's information through our webpage there.
Exactly. You can go to snowfox.ai/IFS. We have a IFS dedicated website to this, so you can leave a contact request or just email Tony. And we will. And there are actually many questions regarding the pricing and so on. Yeah. So the pricing is based on volume. So depending on how many non-PO invoices you are receiving, that is impacting the pricing. Yeah. Then there were a question regarding are we like if they are using on-prem IFS, can we connect? I think yes. I think we have even connected to on-prem IFS before.
Yes.
So shouldn't be a problem. Can it be applied to PO related invoices? Yes, if you are coding PO invoices manually, then yes.
Yes.
Otherwise, you don't need it because coding is being automated with matching the PO against the PO number.
I can chip in on that. Of course, that is something that should be taken care of by the ERP system to get that automated as much as possible. Yeah. I saw some comments. There's a quick one on the additional charges handling. That can be handled, and then in IFS we have a solution nowadays on if you have capture data on invoice line level to be able to automatically code for that type of additional charges if it's on a PO related invoice. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, and then one question that do we need to have IFS AI enabled in order to use Snowfox? Answer is no. There's no need to have IFS AI enabled because Snowfox is an add-on. So yeah, and then there were so many questions. Maybe we will have to stop at some point and we will answer this in written mode. But one question about Mika regarding the implementation, that how long does it take for the customer? What kind of resources do they need for the implementation and so on? So it's fairly easy, fairly simple, maybe a couple of days of work, would it be?
Yes, exactly. And then there are basically two roles which are there needed. One is this kind of, let's say, IT department where the IT connections, typically SFTP connections, are built. And then there is also the financial, the AP people who are doing the testing. So those are, and normally we are talking about some working days there. Couple of working days.
And if you have an IFS service partner that you're using, like Adovation or ArcWide or anything like that, Novacura, whatever. So we highly recommend to involve your IFS partner as well. We've seen that those implementations go really well when the partner is involved. One, I cannot pass this question. Is the model trained per customer or globally? So we are always training AI models per customer. We are not mixing customer data at all. Every single customer has their own AI models and even multiple AI models, because we have some multinational companies who have different coding practices per country. So we have to build AI models per country for these customers. So we're not mixing customer data at all. Every single customer has their own AI models. That's also a privacy question, but also AI kind of functioning question, that it works better with your unique AI model. But we will take all of these great questions. There are almost like 50 of them in the chat, and we will take some time to dig in deeper and write those answers to you. But maybe at this point, we want to say huge thank you. Maybe one of the best audiences all time, being very active. I'm so happy. Thank you, Jonas, for your great expertise. Thank you, Mika.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone online. And we will be in touch, hopefully later.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you. Have
Thank
a great
you all.
day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.